Hey, welcome back, lovelies. So today we're going to be doing a fashion doll. Here we have this Claudine. She is way too pretty, so we're going to use a more raggedy looking one. 100% acetone to remove the face with a cotton swab. Removing the head with heat, we can remove the remaining hair plugs. Now to get rid of the ears. I'm sawing back and forth to protect my hands from slipping at a very slow and steady pace, but I'm going to speed it up for you. Now that that's done, we're going to move on to the body and do blushing, because this girl's going to be showing some skin. I'm contouring the nose using blush, and if you ever put too much, just take a very soft, big, pillowy brush and spread it out, which is what I'm doing here. Making the top lip as saturated as I can with a more solid brush, and then following that with the eyes. I haven't decided how big or small I'm going to do the eyes yet, but I just do an overall blush and go over it as I please. I'm going to be doing a brow. I couldn't decide if I wanted it to be very light, almost not bleached. So I started out with a white base, highlighting the nose. The method for closing up the holes is raggedy as well. I don't suggest doing this method. It's just the method I could think of at the moment. I'm gonna think of a better way to do it eventually. I just haven't yet, with us going to be rerooting. Coloring the scalp the color of the hair in advance so that you can't see. It just makes a better finished look. For the first time, I'm doing curly hair, not straight. This look was inspired by a bunch of social media influencers. Now onto the eyes. We're going in with watercolor pencils to put down the outline. I decided about the brows. She's gonna have green brows because I wanted it to be very scarce but still there. And matching eyelashes is also going to be green. For this, I'm using acrylic paint that has a tendency to dry faster. For the bottom lashes, which I want to look a little more wispy, I went back to using watercolor pencils. I think I finally found my style of face up, and I'm not a fan of doing top lashes. They're okay sometimes, but I'd rather have a dramatic bottom lash than a top lash for some reason. I just like the way it looks. Darkening the inside of her nostrils with pan pastels. Using watercolor pencils as watercolor paint. I'm just putting down a layer of watercolor pencil and then spreading it to where I want it with a fine brush, a fine tip brush, and a little bit of water. Deepening it where I need it. Switching to just a ton of layers. Also using pan pastels to bring shadows more gradual. Darkening the top with the darkest shade of that color, also bringing it out, using it as my overcast shade. Because I want to give the illusion of lashes up there that are just so thick that they make a line, is my thought process. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I absolutely love when you guys stick around, and why not? I deserve it, don't I? I think so. Continuing with the pan pastels, going back and forth, adding more layers to bring it more depth. Darkening the pupil with a dark brown. Darkening the pupil with a dark maroon. Going back over the brows with acrylic paint and a very fine brush. Adding the white highlights to the eyes. I'm then going to add a faded circle of white pan pastels in the top corners. Now taking some pan pastels in a maroon shade, I'm darkening the corners of her eyes to give it even more of a 3D effect. Contouring her nose with very, very subtle highlights. I decided last minute I wanted to give her freckles, and I used pan pastels this time instead of watercolor pencils, and I like the effect. I just brushed off what I didn't want to have dark. This green line I decided very last minute as an alternative makeup look. Now to make a nice lace choker with embellishments. Her choker was looking a little boring, so we're adding this pink acrylic nail gem in the shape of a flower and a gold bead to the center to make it look even more like a flower. Attaching it with some Uhu glue. Here are some Gulia high tops from Generation 3. But we don't need the brain detail on the side, so let's get rid of that. So we're taking some stockings and folding them over on the edge and sewing them up to make cute little leg warmers. Now, I noticed I made it a little too big, so we're gonna go back in and make adjustments as needed. Good as new. The boots are starting to rub off too easy with the acrylic paint, so I'm actually going to spray paint them with plastic safe air paint, which gave it a nice brown. I really like it. It said it was red, but it looks brown to me. Now to add some details to the boots, we're going to add some gold embellishments on the buckles. Taking it a step further, we're going to paint the laces black and paint the bottom of these shoes gold. It's embellishment time. We're going to add this green bows to the leg warmers. Okay, now I've tied these bows. We're gonna seal the edges of them with a little bit of fire and then sew them onto the leg warmers and just make her a little more extra, a little more fancy. Now, using more of the same sheer fabric that we used for the leg warmers, we're going to sew this trim of a lace, just a little edge of a lace.
Oh snap.
All over this to make it a blouse. And could you believe this was a scrap? It was just a scrap from the leg warmer. But we're going to make it into something because we want to use every single centimeter of this fabric. Anytime you look at a piece of lace, you can always take off parts of the lace. You don't have to use the whole piece of a lace just because it's scaled for something bigger. Some lace have compartments that you can snip off and it'll stay together. Now, for some reason, I just had the idea of like Sailor Moon transformation ribbon, and I was like, I'm just gonna add it because I think it's pretty. and I want to, and that's part of art. You have a good idea, you want to add it, you add it. Add some moss to give them more of a lost city type of look, little vibe. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I absolutely love when you guys stick around, and why not? I deserve it, don't I? I think so. I just wanted to show off my nails. I did them myself. I'm so proud. Okay, so moving along. This is actually trim. Certain trims actually work really well as skirts, pre-made skirts. Okay, then taking this stretchy trim and lime green trim, we're gonna line the top of the skirt. The stretchy ribbon or trim, I'm not sure which one it's supposed to be, it works really well for closing the gap that naturally happens when you have fabric that's too thick folded over. Now taking some sheer stockings material. I want to make her kind of like a shawl and matching stockings. So we're just gonna ladder stitch that. Okay, with that all fixed up and trimmed nice, we can shove it into the leg warmer. I noticed a small area at the very top where the fabric didn't line up clean, so I'm just going in and stitching it I'm not sure what this technique is called or if it even is a technique, but I'm stitching it so that it'll line back up with the other edge of the fabric. I'm fixing a mistake. Goodness gracious. I was worried about the curls slowly falling, just, due to gravity and whatnot. So we put this cute little makeshift from a scrap of sheer that we have laying around. I think it's cute. So I had to share it. I figured it'd be neat. That's what she looks like while she's getting the rest of her outfit made. So now we're taking these paper flowers. They're usually in the scrapbooking section, and they're perfect scale and lightness to make sure it doesn't weigh down the curls, and so it still looks more realistic than a hard acrylic flower. These are the colors that I'll be using. Some of them will be mixed, some of them will be just plain. I modeled the colors after a specific flower. Now I'm doing something I'm sure you guys didn't know I knew how to do, but I crochet. Let's crochet a bag while the flowers dry. So here I am making her a bag. Yes, we are crocheting a bag, guys. Here's the front part and the little flap. Already done. Now let's do the other parts separate and combine them using a needle, using a wide eye needle and threader. I hide all the extra threads and strings. And now I'm making the strap now that the two pieces are joined. It's a very simple stitch. It's nothing too complicated or fancy. And I'm using an embroidery string instead of yarn. Here I'm making a little green knot, and I'm just doing a knot over and over, and it looks cute. It doesn't really need to be something. Then after I did that, I made a little brown loop in the front so it could latch on. Now that we have it a little more functional and cute, let's go ahead and add some extra oomph to it, you know? Little something something. So we're taking this green embroidery thread and making it look like a vine by just placing it strategically throughout the strap, making it twist, making it loose, and then hiding the ends once we're all done with placing it how we like. I thought about doing beads that would drip down kind of like vines, but I don't know, something about the shininess of the beads clashed to me visually, and I didn't like it, so I X'd it out. But yeah, so that's our bag. Now let's strategically add the flowers to the hair now that they're dry. Okay, using hot glue, just a dollop, we're going to attach all the flowers in a triangle pattern so that everything is spaced kinda symmetrical, but more so it just looks uniformed. And here she is. I figured she should get some sunlight since she is, you know, bush and floral inspired. I think she came out great. She's such a little cutie. I'm thinking about doing more of these type of dolls. I wasn't sure if you guys be interested. It's more the cute side of my creepy cute. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching to the end. I absolutely adore you guys. Make sure you don't miss out on any of my updates on my social medias. I'm thinking about doing more of these type of dolls. I wasn't sure if you guys be interested. It's more the cute side of my creepy cute. Be sure to check out my website, my Etsy, my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Facebook. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a spooky time. See you next time. Bye.